My sister built a brand on neurodiversity. Then she erased me, the autistic daughter from the family, so I spoke out, and the internet listened. Being deleted isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's so silent that it nearly seems courteous. We were standing in my folks' dining room. Everyone had been hurried indoors for the big reveal. My brother described it as if we were about to see a new automobile or gender. It was a mural, a hand-painted family tree that filled the full wall. The kids gave me a financial gift, but not a creative one. They did not want my feedback. "We've got it covered," my sister replied. "Just chip in your third." So I chipped, like I always do. The curtain fell with a little flourish, and the audience gasped. My father laughed. My mother wiped a tear. My sister virtually bowed. People applauded because that is what happens when you are informed you are experiencing something significant. And it was impressive. I will give them that. The tree was huge with sweeping limbs, exquisite calligraphy, and gold embellishments. It had names. So many names. Cousins, second cousins, in-laws, and babies. Even the family dog left a paw print. I recognized the majority of them, not because we were close, but because I have a great memory. It comes in useful when your personality needs to be studied, rehearsed, and continually re-edited in order to be tolerated. I smiled and clapped along. There are no red flags yet. I walked closer, inspecting the branches with confused fascination. I found my older sister immediately away. Large, bold text, along with photographs of her twins and spouse. My younger brother's name appeared on the other side, beneath a proud little scroll that read, "Regional Sales Manager." He sells appliances. You would think he invented electricity. Next, I looked for my own name. It was not there. Don't panic. It was a large tree. Perhaps I was nestled lower down. Perhaps the artist used my complete legal name rather than my nickname. I scanned again, this time slowly, from left to right and bottom to tip. Still nothing. I examined the spouse clusters just in case. Nope. I'm not married, but neither is my cousin Emily, who received her own leaf, complete with a miniature watercolor of her rescue cat. I examined every name, all 112 of them. Except for me, everyone else in the room was on that wall. For a while, I wondered if I had merely gone temporarily blind, was dreaming, or both. I stared at the painting intently, as if I could squint myself into reality. Nothing. The first emotion I felt wasn't fury or grief, it was embarrassing. That creeping heat under your skin that makes you feel both invisible and exposed, as if your zipper was unzipped and someone was live streaming it. I did not cry. I didn't ask any questions. I strolled quietly into the bathroom and locked the door. It was not about the need for privacy. I only needed a few undisturbed minutes to believe what had actually occurred. I sat on the closed toilet, glanced at the floor tiles, and allowed my brain to do what it does best, sort information. The facts were simple. I helped pay for a mural. A mural featuring nearly 100 people. My siblings and parents approved the mural, and no one thought to include me in the planning process, which lasted weeks, if not months. Or they considered it but decided not to. That was the aspect that struck me. The intentionality of it. It was not an oversight. Oversights can't withstand 4 drafts, a deposit, and a wall. After a while, I realized I had been sitting there for over half an hour. Nobody had knocked. Nobody had texted. Nobody had even noticed I was gone. I poured water on my face, gently dried it, reapplied lip balm, and adjusted my hair. When I re-entered the dining room, the mural remained the focal point. People were taking selfies in front of it now, pointing at their names as if they had won something. My mother was near the drinks table. I walked over, smiling as if nothing had occurred. "Hey," I said nonchalantly. She became cheery. "Yes, sweetie. Don't you think something's missing from the mural?" She appeared bewildered. "Missing someone," I responded, still smiling. "Who?" "Me." Her expression changed only slightly, a blink and a half-second pause. "Oh, that," she replied, smoothing a stack of napkins. "Well, we just didn't think you'd want to be on it. You know, you're not really into this sort of thing." "Legacy," I answered. "You know what I mean." My father snorted from behind her. "We figured you'd call it sentimental nonsense and roll your eyes." I nodded only once, and that was it. They knew. They had seen the final edition. They'd approved it, and they were fine with it, comfortable even. So I said nothing more. I just turned, walked to the front door, and left. Nobody stopped me. Nobody followed. I got into my car, started it, and drove. Not at home. Not yet. I had things to do, quiet things, meticulous ones, and a very well-organized folder that I hadn't opened in a long time. I didn't say anything that night. But 3 days later, they'd see my name somewhere unexpected, and this time, they would be unable to remove it. I am autistic. I didn't always know what the phrase meant, but I knew I wasn't wanted. I used to think of myself as a broken appliance. I appeared normal from the outside, but something inside didn't work properly. I wasn't sure what portion it was, but it kept making people stare at me like I'd said the wrong thing, laugh when I wasn't joking, or grow silent as if I'd ruined something unseen. So I spent most of my childhood pretending I wasn't autistic, long before I realized the term existed. My entire youth was essentially one extended experiment in how to pass as someone who belonged. I grew up in a large extended family of loud, bustling, performative individuals who enjoyed surprise parties, family activities, and group singing. All of these were things I secretly dreaded but tried hard not to show. We had relatives like most people have houseplants, too many to list, all crammed into one room. It should have felt like a community. It did not. From the age of 5, I knew I was different in the wrong way, and the message was loudest from inside my own home. One of my earliest memories was telling my aunt that her new haircut was uneven. I believed I was being helpful. She had asked what I thought, and I responded directly, as I had been trained. I didn't think much of it until my mother took me aside and told me I was impolite, embarrassing, and ungrateful. My father then chimed in, saying that I needed to learn tact, or I would never have friends. I was grounded for 2 weeks due to a haircut. Everyone chuckled when my brother informed the same aunt 6 months later that she resembled a pink sheepdog. That was the topic. My siblings, Jake and Elise, were the golden children. Social, outspoken, and always on. Elise, in instance, could say or do almost anything and be perceived as charming. When I duplicated her precise language in a group conversation, I received a strange look and was told I was trying too hard, which I was, but not in the way they expected. I was trying to figure out how to be with them without being corrected, ridiculed, or ignored. Jake used to bark at me like a dog whenever I entered a room, just to see if I flinched. Elise would imitate my voice in a high-pitched whine, saying things like, "Technically, it's not accurate to say that." Since I used to correct them when they said things that were false. You know, like a normal kid who cared about facts. My parents witnessed it. They also laughed. "You have to admit, Joanna, you do sound like that." I never heard, "Hey, stop mocking your sister." So I decided to try to fix myself. I didn't do it to improve my networking skills or because I enjoyed reading. I did it out of desperation. I had bookcases full of books on communication, social skills, and body language. Titles include How to Talk to Anyone and Social Rules for Children. I did not read them like novels. I examined them as though I were preparing for an examination. Eye contact for 3 seconds, then glance away. When welcoming someone, make sure to smile. Nod sometimes. Ask questions. Do not talk too much. Do not interrupt. Do not correct. I rehearsed in front of the mirror. I recorded myself to see whether I sounded weird. I observed others and collected mental notes. And yet, at every family event, I was the one off to the side. Too silent, too intense, and not entertaining enough. I'd sit at the kids' table until I was 16 because no one made room for me at the adults' table, and no one invited me to participate in anything else. When I tried, when I smiled, joined conversations, and adopted the appropriate tone, they'd say, "Why are you acting like that?" I was stuck. If I were myself, I'd be a problem. If I masked, I looked strange. Regardless, I lost. In school I excelled. Not socially, but academically. Science makes sense. Programming makes sense. Cells, logic, and algorithms did not mind if I created the wrong face. They just worked or didn't. I received a full ride to university for biology and computer science. I completed my PhD, began lecturing part-time, and worked in research. I now earn more money than anyone else in my family, but no one mentions it, except when it's time to prepare a large family gift. Then it's, "Can you chip in a little more? You're doing so well." And I always did, hoping that this time it would count. I began to suspect I might be autistic when I was 25. I was browsing a site about social burnout in women when I came across posts that made me feel like someone had hijacked my inner monologue. Women discuss masking, never feeling natural, needing to learn how to socialize, and being fatigued after a birthday celebration. I did not feel seen. I felt called out. So I explored deeper, reading papers, articles, personal essays, and completing 3 online examinations. I received an exceptional score. I didn't want to assume anything. So I contacted a professional, underwent a thorough assessment, sat through hours of questions and evaluations, and eventually received what I already knew: a formal diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. I told my relatives. I sat them down, or tried to. My mother kept getting up to refresh her tea. When I eventually said it, she chuckled. "You're not autistic, Joanna. Don't be silly. You just don't like parties." My father told me, "You're too smart to be autistic." Jake responded, "Oh, so now we're supposed to walk on eggshells around you?" Elise simply grinned and commented, "You've always liked labels." This is the same sister who built a company on neurodivergent inclusivity, featured neurodivergent models in her advertisements, discussed representation in interviews, and then commissioned a mural with 112 names, but left mine off. They did not forget me. They did not overlook me. They erased me. And if I hadn't walked into that room and seen at that wall with my own eyes, I may have gone another decade thinking that if I just tried harder, repaired myself a little more, they'd let me in. But I now see they never wanted me to, and I am done trying to earn it. I did not yell. I did not demand answers. I did not call anyone to express how badly they had hurt me. I just stopped responding. There's no dramatic group chat exit, no final word. I muted the family thread, archived the messages, and disabled read receipts. Then I unplugged from the machine I had been using my entire life. The first item I cut was money. Not all at once. I was not trying to make a point. I was just finished. I discontinued the automated transfer that paid a portion of my parents' property taxes, one they never acknowledged but clearly relied on. I removed my contribution to our shared family activities fund, which began as a joint effort but gradually became, "Joanna covers what we forgot." I denied Elise's Venmo request for the floral arrangements she had already ordered on our behalf. I stopped paying for those who did not believe I belonged to them. Nobody noticed for the first week. I watched quietly while the group conversation buzzed with filtered party photos and post-event compliments. Then someone mentioned the missing birthday deposit for our cousin Lily's daughter. Jake responded, "Did anyone cover Joanna's part?" It bounced. Elise replied, "Pretty sure she just forgot. Can one of you follow up with her? She might be overwhelmed again." Overwhelmed. It was their favorite word for me. Not autistic, excluded, or betrayed. Only overwhelmed. As if I'd tripped over my own shadow again. A few days later, Elise left me a voice message. I listened to it once, then again, to be sure I hadn't imagined the tone. "Hey, so I know things have been a little weird, but I just wanted to check in. We really missed you after the party, and I know you've been sensitive lately, but you know we love you, right? Like obviously you're important to the family. Anyway, let me know if you're okay. Also, if you could send your third for Lily's gift today, that would be amazing. No pressure." I did not respond. The next morning, I received a forwarded invoice and a passive-aggressive just circling back email from Elise's assistant. I removed it. Then began the guilt parade. My mother left a voicemail in which she clearly tried to seem calm but utilized her sing-song panic voice when everything were breaking apart. "Joanna, sweetheart, I don't know what's going on, but this isn't like you. You've always been so generous and dependable. I know the mural was complicated, but we were just trying to do something special. We didn't mean to upset you. Please don't let this ruin the whole family dynamic." The overall family dynamic. That is what she termed it. Not what they did, but my attitude to it. They didn't receive it since they did not want to. They painted me out and laughed in my face when I mentioned it. And now they were perplexed. I didn't want to continue being their silent benefactor. I was not angry, not anymore. I just wasn't available. I had energy again. The type that comes when you quit giving your worth to those who simply see you as a resource. At roughly the same time, I received an email from a conference organizer. A keynote speaker had unexpectedly withdrawn from a neurodivergence and mental health event. Someone had noticed a blog article I wrote a few months ago on how autistic women are often misrepresented in academia. They asked if I was willing to talk. At first I considered deleting it. I am not a public speaker by nature. But then I thought, perhaps that's the idea. So, I said sure. I spent a week writing the talk. I'm not rehearsing it, just writing it honestly. I started with a story about a girl who always brought extra cupcakes to parties. I paid for my pizza. I took on the extra. Responsibility, I took over the planning. Always helpful. Always just outside the circle. I informed them that she had read 13 books on social skills before the age of 12, thinking they would educate her how to quit making people uncomfortable. I told them how she earned a PhD, acquired a house, gave freely, smiled sweetly, and never made a fuss, just chipped in again and again, quietly, dependably, invisibly. Until one day, she helped pay for a mural and a family tree. It contained 112 names. Hers was not one of them. The talk was live-streamed. I didn't think much about it. I went home, prepared tea, and evaluated papers. But by dawn, the video had received over 60,000 views. People captioned it with phrases such, "This hit harder than I expected," and "The cruelty of quiet exclusion. You can't call yourself inclusive if you erase your own sibling." The comments began pouring in. Some came from strangers. Some were not. Someone wrote, "Isn't this about that fashion designer who always posts about neurodivergence?" Another responded, "Didn't her sister pay for that mural too?" I remember the photos. I didn't say anything, but I didn't need to. And then, an unexpected event occurred. They sued me. I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. Not because I didn't know who I was dealing with. I knew. I really hoped they wouldn't be so ignorant, petty, or delusional. But no, they were just that. The envelope arrived via courier. A man in a suit brought it to me, as if I were being served in a drama. I was half expecting him to say, "You've been warned." Inside is a lawsuit filed by my sister's company for reputational harm. So here I am, because I said the truth. It went viral because it appears that publicly rejecting your autistic sister is acceptable, until the public notices. Her brand had already started bleeding by that point. It began with a few quiet online comments. Then people started sharing video from the conference, including my address, with remarks like, "She paid for the mural. Her name wasn't even on it." It's funny how some inclusive brands only include those who make them look good. 112 names, not hers. People posed questions. And when you've built your entire business on the concept of diversity, questions like that are poison. Partnerships became silent. A model backed out. An influencer canceled a project and shared a cryptic story that everyone knew was about Elise. Suddenly, the sister who had always professed to support neurodivergence was asked why she couldn't even stand next to it. So she chose to sue me for crafting a deceptive narrative, implied defamation, and arranging a targeted reputational attack. She also tossed in emotional turmoil, which I thought was beautiful. I mean, am I coordinating a reputational attack? Please, I can hardly organize a spice rack without taking breaks. I hired a decent lawyer. "Did you name her in the talk?" she inquired. "Nope." "Did you identify her?" "Business?" "Number?" "Did you lie about anything?" "Number." She smiled. "So let's have some fun." We built a case with care. I gave her the bank transfer that confirmed I had paid for 1/3 of the mural, screenshots from the group chat, where I was informed, "We've got it covered," and never consulted again. A digital guest list of 112 persons. Everyone on the wall except me. A high-resolution photo of the mural, with names named, is celebrated. Finally, Elise's assistant sent me an email. "We left Joanna off. Elise thought it would be simpler." Cutting off a tumor is simpler. The trial didn't last long. Elise arrived appearing as if she were auditioning for the role of wronged woman, corporate edition. Beige power suit, no makeup, and no eye contact. My parents sat behind her, both sporting the, "We don't understand what's going on, but we support our daughter" expression. It felt strange to see them in the courtroom. They did not appear to be comfortable. Perhaps there were regulations there. Or the repercussions. My lawyer requested me to go him through the story. So I did. I described how I'd contributed monetarily, how I wasn't involved in the planning, how I wasn't on the tree, and how my sister developed a business around the identity she removed from her own family. I spoke clearly and quietly. I had practiced. I did not look at Elise. I did not need to. The mural photo appeared on a screen. The judge squinted. "Whose biscuit?" "Our family dog," I explained. "Deceased?" "Yes. Died in 2020. The judge stared back at me. "But included?" "Yes." He looked down at his notes and then back at the image. "Your name isn't there." "No," I responded. "It's not." I could feel the air shifting in the room. There is something about seeing it printed, not figurative, overblown or emotional, just facts. A wall with 112 names. Mine is missing. The tree was built by a deceased dog. I did not. Elise's lawyer attempted to argue that the artwork was symbolic and not intended to represent all members of the family. So my lawyer zoomed in on the branches, showing the nicknames, marriage dates, infants, and even the gold-foiled small acorn beneath Jake's name with the words, "First to own a home" underneath. Symbolic? She inquired. Or selectively thorough? The jurors did not require much more. The case was dropped, and Elise was forced to pay all legal fees. When the decision was handed down, she did not glance at me. My mother did. Her expression was not angry. I was not ashamed either. It was flat, like someone watching a machine they didn't know how to use. She seemed to want to hit a button to rewind it. However, there was no button. There was no videotape. It was just now. After that, things quickly unraveled. Her company lost 2 major investors. Then a lawsuit emerged from a former employee, a neurodivergent model who claimed she was abused and underpaid. Elise posted a long pastel background apology about listening and learning, which was ratioed within an hour. Her brand went out of business within 6 months. Within another 3 months, my parents secretly sold their home. I wasn't the only cause, but I was the missing link in a system that only functioned when I was too tired to refuse. They scaled back. I moved into a modest condo outside of the city. My brother helped a little. Elise did not. I found out from an email chain that I was not supposed to be copied on. Their new address was given at the bottom, alongside a remark about who was bringing potato salad to Thanksgiving. I was not invited, but I did not want to go. Something unusual happened following all of this. I expected to feel triumphant. I did not. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel as if I was clutching to the edge of a family, attempting to achieve a position that did not exist. I didn't feel like I was preparing for another rejection. I wasn't shrinking to be more likable. I wasn't checking to see who was watching. I was just me. Free and unapologetic. Oh, I met someone too. He's a biochemist who despises casual conversation and enjoys preserved sea animals. He does not flinch when I speak exactly what I mean. Don't call me chilly since I don't fake a smile. Do not try to fix me while I'm overwhelmed. Simply ask, do you want solitude or company? Sometimes we sit in complete stillness for hours. It's the loudest peace I've ever experienced. I used to believe that if I just did everything right, if I was kind enough, helpful enough, and polished enough, my family would notice me. But now I don't need to be seen by those who only saw me when I was useful. I see myself. And that's it. It has been a few years now. I went to real treatment. Not the kind where someone tries to change your behavior, but the kind where you can actually ask, who am I if I'm not performing for survival? Unmasking was not a switch. It was a slow, unusual, and uncomfortable procedure. Imagine pulling off a costume you didn't realize you were wearing and finding you've never gazed in the mirror before. There were days when I missed the mask, keep things consistent, maintain people's comfort levels. But now I don't live there. Sometimes I still need to apply it sparingly, like emotional sunscreen. But most of the time, I can be myself. Fully. Honestly. Without apologies. I'm also engaged now. He sees me, not the polished or edited version. He kisses me, and he enjoys that version. That is still a little wild to say aloud. I have not spoken with my family since the lawsuit, and I don't intend to. I used to believe I couldn't thrive without their approval. It turns out that I was barely surviving with it. I'm happy now. Not because everything is great, but because I am no longer fighting to prove my right to exist. So I do wonder occasionally, did I do the correct thing? Have I gone too far? Or did I finally get far enough? Please let me know in the comments.